Pastor Jon Ditter joins us this morning from the Homer City Christian and Missionary Alliance Church. Good morning.
Good morning. It's great to be here.
Well, it's good to have you because we found out about this a little bit late, and so we want to make sure that folks know that this is a really good event coming up on Sunday. It's called Family Day at Floodway, presented by the Homer City Ministerium.
That's correct.
Yeah, so what happens?
Well, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a family day geared towards families with kids, families without kids. The whole day is a Christian day. It's but you don't have to be going to a church. You don't have to be a Christian to be part of it. It starts at 10:30 in the morning at Floodway Park in Homer City. It begins with a worship service. It's not going to be something that maybe if you have gone to a church in the past, it's not going to be your traditional worship service. We are going to have some music. We're going to have a couple different pastors sharing the time for the message, and so it's going to be definitely a community effort, a collective effort of the different pastors in the area. Several churches are actually transferring their services to the park for that day, so there's going to be a number of different congregations represented, but like I said, you don't have to go to a church any place to be a part of this. And then that should get done between 11:30 and noon, and then about noon we're going to have free lunch for everyone, Italian sausage, hot dogs, I don't remember what we all have lined up. There's a whole crew that are working on the food, but we're going to have a ton of food, and this is all free. We're not charging for anything. The area businesses and the area churches have all sponsored this, and so we're all opening this up. It's completely free to everyone. And then in the afternoon we're going to have a concert starting about 1 o'clock. We have 5 different bands, 5 different groups coming in. Wow. They're going to do about 35 minutes of music each, and then in between their sets we're going to have time for some drawings, for some prizes, some giveaways, some really neat stuff. And then while the concert's going on, because some of the smaller children aren't going to sit still for a concert, we have some activities, we have some games, we have just a ton of stuff. It is very family friendly. There's going to be children's church during the worship service, so it is geared towards the entire family the whole day.
Yeah, and you're right about that family aspect of it. Yeah, you might not have somebody else in your family living with you, but you're a part of some family.
Yes.
And in this case, the Homer City worship family that will be meeting on Sunday morning and then throughout the course of the day. How does that come together?
Well, it was actually just one of the couple people we're talking last fall. It was probably October, November. We just happened to be having a conversation. We're like, hey, wouldn't it be neat if, and people always have those conversations. Wouldn't it be kind of cool if we saw this in the community? Or wouldn't it be kind of neat if this happened in the community? And it was just a conversation that we says, let's start talking about this a little bit more. And so we started meeting once a month at the First United Methodist Church in Homer City, and it started with maybe half a dozen different people. We started putting it out to different churches, saying if you're interested in being in on this conversation, come. We were meeting the first Saturday of the month at the Methodist Church and just started having these different conversations. Well, what would the games look like? What would the food look like? How many volunteers do we need? I started asking all the questions, and we actually leaned into a group from Clymer that have been doing this for many years. They have a similar thing in August, and so I was given their contact information. I had a really great conversation. They gave us some very good pointers and tips, and by the time we got to this past spring, March, April, we started really hammering down some details, and it was something that this is the first time doing it. We're hoping to continue doing it.
Sure.
If this could become an annual event, that'd be awesome. But this is the year of mistakes. We're gonna probably mess a few things up, and that's okay. We're kind of starting out small, but we're hoping to grow and do it a little bit bigger and better every year.
Yeah, that Sunday in the park in Clymer is fantastic.
Yeah.
In fact, theirs is so big that they call it Sunday, S-O-N Day.
Yes.
And it's not just on S-U-N-D-A-Y because it's so big. It's Saturday and Sunday. So.
Yep. And I think that's what they told me is they said it started, I think they said 13 years ago. I could be wrong about that. 13 years ago with 1 or 2 people with just a vision to do something like that. And they said the same thing. They said the first year it started, I believe they said 100 people. And it just, they said over 1,000 now. And it's just all the churches are involved. That's maybe where it's going, maybe not. It's not it's not for us to decide right now. We're just going to do what we got this year.
Yeah, and it's wonderful that there are so many churches involved as well.
Yeah.
And it really points out the fact that there may be different styles of worship. There may be differences in the way that you relate to the Word of God, but in the end, it's one God. It's one big family.
And that's exactly the theme what we're going with, especially during the worship service. We're kind of talking about how we've kind of gotten away from that mindset of when Jesus says, "I will build my church." It became we've kind of, and I'm not criticizing denominations. I'm not criticizing any church or anything like that. I'm just saying that we've kind of gotten away from what Jesus said when he said he was going to create one church, unified with one heart and one mind.
Yeah.
And I feel that humanity, we've kind of gotten away from that, and so instead of separating ourselves as different mini flocks, mini congregations, we want to come together as one church that we were called to be. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to erase the denominational lines this Sunday. It's not about where you go regularly. It's not about the church that you attend. It's about just who we are, because who we're called to be.
So it's at 10:30 in the morning is when the community worship service begins. Should people bring lawn chairs?
Absolutely, yeah. We will have some seating, but a majority of we're asking people to bring blankets, lawn chairs. We've been praying all spring for good weather, and it's looking beautiful. So that has been an answer to prayers, because that was our biggest concern. If we got rain, that could really cause some issues that we didn't want to have to deal with. So far, that's looking beautiful. But we are going to have water and drinks during the day, so people can bring their own water bottles, but we will be having water. But if people bring their lawn chairs, blankets, whatever they want to do, we'll have some shaded areas, but Floodway Park doesn't have a lot of extra shade, so people can bring umbrellas if they want to sit under umbrellas, anything to make them comfortable.
Yeah. And it's good that the weather is good, because you don't want Floodway Park to live up to its name.
Yes, the Hoodlebug thing last year, the event last year was very rainy, and so we're very excited that there's not supposed to be rain this Sunday.
Yeah, it's going to be a good event, and so everybody is invited to come and just be prepared to enjoy a wonderful afternoon.
Yep, it's a come when you want to, leave when you have to type of situation. People can stay for the whole event. People can come in late. We're hoping to have food during the whole time, and again, this is all free. There's no. We are taking an offering during the worship service, which is going to go back into the Homer City Ministerium, and they'll decide what they do with it. If we use it for next year's Family Day at Floodway, or if we put it towards a food bank, it'll go towards the community. We're not sure what we're doing with it yet, but some very generous businesses and very generous churches have sponsored this, so we are able to do this without needing to ask for money from anyone. So that's very neat.
Yeah, it's a pretty big, strong faith community in Homer City. You got your church is CMA, you got Presbyterian, you got Methodist, and other denominations as well.
Yes, the Hope Lutheran Church is represented. There's the Catholic churches are all represented. It's it's there. Whether they can all be there or not for the service, some of them can't be there for the service. They are still supporting it, and they're there representing. Yeah. So that's pretty awesome.
So everybody come.
Everyone come.
And don't worry if you're not even from Homer City.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Enjoy the food. Enjoy the day.
Yeah. Tell me about your work at CMA Church. You've been there for how long?
I've just, it'll be 2 years in August, so just shy of 2 years.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And coming from where?
Du Bois. I was in Du Bois. I was the community outreach pastor in Du Bois at the Christian Missionary Alliance Church there. I was there for 6 years.
Yeah. And how are you enjoying the church and the community?
We love the small community. My wife is involved with different things like the library. She's part of the business association. We've just made so many friends already. Our kids are in the school, so we've just built relationships. We love small communities. We're actually from small community originally, and so we just love getting to know people, just building relationships. We love people, and that's what makes being a pastor so much fun. Is that's what I get to do, and it's a calling, and it's something I get to do that I enjoy doing.
And one of the great things about being in a community such as Homer City is everybody knows everybody.
Yep.
So everybody in the faith community knows everybody, and when one church has a need or has a member that has a need, it might not just be that church that responds to the need. It's everybody. Let's pile on here and see what we can do.
Yep, I agree. It's been great. That's been definitely the feel. It doesn't feel like churches are trying to compete with each other. You go to some of the larger communities, it feels like there's a competition, and I just don't feel like that's the way it is in Homer City. We're all on the same team. We're working for the same goal. We maybe do things slightly different, but kind of like I said earlier, we all want to be together and unified.
So Family Day at Floodway.
Yep.
It's Sunday, 10:30 a.m. for the community worship service.
Yep, and we're looking to be done about 5 p.m.
It's an afternoon.
In the afternoon, so it should be a good day. Like I said, bring the kids, bring your grandkids, bring the nieces and nephews, whoever you got. We're looking. There'll be a lot of games and activities as well.
Good time. Thanks so much for coming by to tell us all about it. Hope that lots of folks will turn out on Sunday.
Thank you for having me.
It's Pastor Jon Ditter. He's with the Christian and Missionary Alliance Church in Homer City. Family Day at Floodway is going to be happening on Sunday, 10:30 a.m. community worship. Free lunch afterwards, served by you, right?
Uh-huh. You don't want me serving lunch. I'll be working with the groups, getting the band set up.
I might not want you cooking it, but it's okay if you serve it.
Absolutely.
And then afterwards, of course, a whole afternoon of activities, all the bands and the fun activities for the kids and everybody else, too. Thanks for being here. It is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS, AM 1160 and 101.1 FM.